Bone's clean, but didn't fall off the bone. Very good.
Welcome everybody, Brett Osborne, Smokin Hot Butts BBQ, Casper, Wyoming. Beautiful December day. The wind's only blowing 10-20 mile an hour instead of the 40 or 50, so a little bit nicer outside. Thought we'd show you some pork spare ribs today. So I'm going to flip down here in a minute and show you the Prairie Fresh ribs that we are trimming up here. We like to do a St. Louis style. I'm just kind of messing around with these a little bit today. So anyway, that's what we're going to be whipping out. Some of these dudes. Anyway, get ready and see what we can do. Okay, so we got these Prairie Fresh Naturals here. We're gonna knock out. So a lot of people will trim off these skirts and stuff. I go out, or skirts, these end pieces. I go ahead and take those off. I save them and cook them. But really try to trim it down first the way you like it. So get rid of this little flap or skirt, whatever you want to call it. That I don't save. I guess you could. I don't mess with that. I personally like rib tips. Some people don't. Let's get that out of there. Okay, and then membrane. Try to get that off here if I can, pretty easy. We'll see how. Sometimes they come right off. Sometimes they don't. You can start them with a knife, a spoon. Reach up here with them, grab them with a paper towel if you can. Again, sometimes they come off easy and sometimes they don't. A lot of guys don't take this off, and that's fine. In fact, everything I'm doing here, I mean, you can do what you want. If you don't want to take the membrane off, you don't want to trim these off, you'll leave that fat on, leave the skirt on, do what you want to do. I just think it makes for just a little bit nicer looking product this way, and trying to keep them consistent. I'm cooking 4 racks here today, and you want to try to get them where they kind of try to cook all at the, at the same time, right? So, you guys can see that or not. I like trying to come over and just kind of find, you got your flat side here, right? And then we want to try to come out and find one of your biggest bones, which is going to be about right in here. So I will just kind of come along here and something kind of like that, and we'll see if that's going to work out right. But okay, again, I like cooking this piece, so I'm saving it and I'll cook that. A lot of guys do or don't. Again, that's you. It's up to you. I actually like to try to trim just try to get some of the round pieces off here on the end, because if not, it's going to burn. I know a lot of guys will take these off on the ends. I kind of like leaving them while I cook them and let them kind of take the abuse. And if you don't like them after they're done, cut them off in. You know what I'm saying? So I try to leave some of that on there if I can. So a lot of times I'll leave it. A lot of guys take it off. But any extra piece like this, I mean, you don't have to do this. It's up to you. I try to take some of it off. And it's just a matter if you want to or not. That piece right there is really not even going to be a rib. So really don't need the trimmings. It's just a little piece of bone right in here. All right. So I went in and cleaned a little of this stuff off. These don't have to be perfect. And if you see a couple of things, you can always kind of trim up. Like I said, that piece there, that says like bone. I'm going to end up cutting that off, so I'm just going to leave that alone. This one here, I've got kind of rounded off a little bit. All right. Throw them over here in my pan. We'll do it again. I've taken this off first. I I've trimmed them first. I've St. Louis'd them first. I've taken the membrane off first. I don't know if there's in order. I suppose if I did hundreds of these per day, I'd probably have more of a system of the way I would do it or like to do it. I just kind of like when I trim a brisket or whatever, and something comes out, I just start working on whatever I see in front of me there. So anyway, so you can kind of see where it's come up here a little bit. You'll see different cuts and stuff in it. So I'm just kind of grabbing it. Again, some people will use a spoon. You can see when they process these, they kind of cut it right there. So right there's where it's going to stop, obviously. Just pick it back up, come off there again until it goes to that cut, which isn't going to hurt anything. Just makes me have to do this a couple, 3 times. And if you leave some of this up here, not going to be killer. When I was a kid, it's funny, didn't know anything about barbecuing, didn't know anything about smoking anything. Didn't even know what a smoker was, I don't think. Just knew that I liked ribs, and we lived in Texas. My dad would take me to different barbecue joints down in San Antonio, ones that specifically I remember. I think a couple in Fort Worth, Dallas area too, but they had the membrane on there, and again, I didn't know what it was then, and I loved it. I remember grabbing it and chewing on it. It just had great flavor. I know it sounds kind of gross, but that's what I did when I was a kid. Didn't know any better. So by no means is it going to hurt you. It's just a matter of preference, if you want it or not. You know what I mean? So I've got some guys, I've been seeing classes where they'll just take a piece out of the middle. This part kind of goes away. I think for the most part it goes away anyway. So different view from a while ago. And again, what I'll do is I'll basically lay my rib here. You got your flat side over here, right? So kind of find your bone right in here, and I'm just going to kind of square it. So I'll just kind of make a little mark here, something like that. All right. Keep checking. Making sure I'm following my line there still. These are good knives, but I should have probably hit this in a lick after I used it last time. Again, I keep this piece. All right. Now I can come back and I'll see that I want a little bit off here. I'm just going to take a little bit off, straighten it up. Now this rack's longer than the rest of them. I know that I'm not going to use this piece here, so I'm going to go ahead and just take a little off, just to kind of narrow it up just a little bit. Again, the end pieces, see this rib right here? It's going to be like that. I could take it off, but I'm going to leave it and take it off when I finish it. That way this one kind of takes the abuse on the end if it dries out, because those pieces usually aren't good anyway, right? So come back in here and just want to round off any, you don't have to, but just round off any kind of oddball corners so they don't burn. May end up coming off again anyway, and that's fine. All right, so a little bit down here, if I gotta see that or not, you don't have to worry about taking that off. Typically I would take this off too, but to be honest with you, this is probably coming off, so I'm gonna leave it. All right, a little bit of fat down here. You take as little or much of that off as you want. Ribs, I usually don't clean. When I first started competing, I remember I used to use a spoon and scrape all this fat out of here, and don't know why I ever did that, but I did. All right. Okay, so I have got everything trimmed, and I'll show you here in a minute. It looks like I got them all in aluminum pans. I love the throwaway aluminum pans. I will rinse them out personally. I don't wash them after I use them, but then I'll use them for a bottom pan. I always double those pans up when I'm cooking hot food, not necessarily raw, but when I'm cooking, always, and I'm talking about pans, I'm talking about these here. Always double them up. I tell you, I've seen people hurt, burnt, or they waste a lot of good food because they'll try to use one of these pans, which are great when there's not a lot in them, or if they're doubled. But if they're just a single, I've seen people drop heavy pork butts, briskets, and again, if they don't burn themselves, they waste some good food. So always double them up. And then, so what I'll do now is these, I'll rinse them out, and then when I go to cook in something, I'll use these as the bottom pan, so it's in a 300-degree smoker or whatever anyway, so it doesn't bother me. But I'm going to go season these things now. I use a couple different seasoning blends, use whatever you want. I'm going to put them on the bottom and let them set for about 15 minutes. I'm going to flip them, let them set 15 minutes. I don't like seasoning ribs for more than about an hour ahead of time. I've got guys on YouTube. I watch YouTube all the time. Tammy doesn't know how I watch. I watch YouTube 24/7. There's 1,000,001 different ways to do anything here. This is no means necessarily the right way. This is the way I like doing it. Do it the way you like to do it, okay? So I do 15 and 15. I know some guys that want to flip them. And again, this isn't competition. I know a lot of guys inject them and you'd be a lot more precise, and I want my ribs down. This isn't for competition. This is just for some friends here. So anyway, I'll flip over, let you see them here in a minute. And now the rib tips, those are for me. Okay, so we're gonna hit the ribs up here. Some people flip them. I try to do mine upside down like this. I think it comes out a little bit more even, rather than trying to do it the other way. But and it's funny when you watch people talk about different coats of seasoning on ribs. Some people say light, some people say medium, some people say heavy. And let me tell you, everybody's version of all of those is most certainly different. So I don't know what you want to call this. I'm going to call this light to medium. And again, do it how you want to. I'm just going to put the first layer on here. And this is the typically on the ribs themselves is going to be the bottom. So I'm not too worried about it. I'll be a little more careful, I guess, on the, now this lid's not one to stay open, so I'm going to flip it the other way. I'm going to have to hold it open here. But all right, so we'll let those set about 15 and we'll be back. Okay folks, 15 minutes went by. So we're gonna do it again here. Added me a little bit of a lamb shank I had out there I was gonna cook too, so I'm gonna smoke that just to see what the heck. Anyway, so let's layer it on here. Again, I don't use a binder. I think you remember earlier I said I watched the YouTube videos. A lot of people do. I don't have anything against it. When I first started smoking, I used to put yellow mustard on absolutely everything. And the yellow mustard really doesn't give it any flavor, just a good binder. But I'll be honest with you, I just, an extra step that I just didn't see that I needed. Because everything sticks just fine just from the moisture here. I should have showed you the other side before I flipped them and how it kind of starts getting wet, that wet look to it, but I'll show you that here in a minute when I get done. But again, no binder needed in my opinion. If you like a binder, you want to use a binder, guess what? Use it. No right or wrong here. This is just the way I do it. Do it your way. Use your stuff. If it's working out good for you, do it. And this is where I come back and say, okay, there's that. Everybody's version of medium, light, or heavy is most certainly different. I call this kind of a medium. From the video there, it might look like it's pretty heavy, but it's really not. All right. Cool, there we go. So, gonna set the old timer for another 15 minutes here, and then again, let y'all see too the, kind of see how it looks, right? Just as they're setting in, those rib tips I was telling you about are gonna be rib tips, but yeah, so they're all sitting there looking good. I'll show you this again in a few momentos when we're done, and I'll have you back here shortly. Well, I gotta let you know here, I'm enjoying a Golden Souls from Golden Ale from one of our great sponsors out of Denver, and geez, they're in a couple places in Denver, Kansas City now, Florida, to rock and roll, but Proud Souls BBQ. So we've got a lot of great sponsors. We've been blessed over the years. Proud Souls is definitely a huge part of it. So go hashtag Proud Souls. Anyway, check out the ribs here, man. You see how wet they are? So you can see why I had no reason to add any kind of moisture, mustard or whatever. There's no need for it. It's bringing that moisture out. That salt's drawing it out. So it's been 15 minutes. There we go. Alexa, dismiss. Meant to turn it off. I apologize. It's been 15 minutes now, and we're going to go out and get these babies on the smoke. It so happens. Got her sitting out here today. Beautiful day. T-shirt weather in December in Casper, Wyoming. For sure. There she is. There she is. All right, we're going to go get them loaded up, and let's see where we're at here. Just a hair under 3. That's perfect. 275. That's gonna work. So again, these are just for practice today. Having a little fun here for my own eats. So that's what we got rocking and rolling here today. So anyway, they're going on. Go add a piece of wood here in just a minute. We'll get these dudes rocking. All right. All right, gonna throw a log in here. Boom. Now we're good. We'll come back out here in a little bit. Okay guys, got the ribs and stuff on now. We're gonna give them about an hour, then we'll go outside and give them a spritz. We'll see how they look, what they need. Meanwhile, if you would like and subscribe to our channel, we would greatly appreciate it. Thanks for coming. If there's any comments you have, add them at the bottom. Do you guys like, do you put mustard on yours? Do you just do salt and pepper? Do you cook low and slow? Are you hot and fast? Are you on a drum? Whatever. Spread the love here. Let's see it. Post some ideas. If there's something you want us to do here too, let us know. We'll be glad to take a peek at it. Thank you. All right, about an hour in. Let's take a look at these jewels. Oh yeah, looking good. Give her a blast here. Good. Okie dokie. Got these ribs in here. I like them. They're looking pretty good. There'll just be a couple of little things I might kind of clean off here, some black specks or whatever. I'm not going to make or break. Again, this is kind of practice for me, so I'm not too worried about it. But anyway, pour what you want on here. I put a little sugar, a little sauce, and I put you some pop or something in here too. A little bit of butter. Butter goes on everything, right? We'll wrap these up and rock and roll. All right, got them all wrapped up. Off we go. Those were probably about 160, 165 maybe, when I probed one or two of them there. Looking good. Okay, so I brought them in and put a little barbecue sauce glaze on it here. and I'm gonna put just a little bit more seasoning on it, put it back in the smoker for about 10 to 15 minutes.
Got a nice bite. Bone's clean, but didn't fall off the bone. Very good. So we had it on the smoker for 2 hours, and then or to the right color. You need to get to the color you like. This is high altitude cooking we're doing up here too. So sometimes it takes a little bit longer, a little less. Some racks are done. Every piece of pig, piece of beef or whatever is different. So you just gotta adjust it each time. But anyway, so 2 hours on the smoker. Then we brought it in, and you saw us wrap everything, and then another couple hours we're back on the smoker, and then just start trying your ribs and see. Just get the consistency you want. You could probe them too. I cook hot and fast, so you're gonna probably be up in the potentially up in a 200-degree area. It could be higher or lower, but just when you start seeing the bones stick through the ends, and then they just almost want to break when you pick them up, you know they're gonna be about done. So then that's when you want to take them out of the foil, or in the case like right here, when I had glazed it in the foil. That way it'll make a mess of your smoker if you want, but just open them up, put some sauce on them, and then back in the smoker for about 10 minutes or so. And then you're good to go. Anyway, this is Brett Osborne, Smokin Hot Butts Casper. Thanks for watching. Any videos you'd like us to put up, or any ideas you got, give us a shot. Give us a like and a subscribe, and let's continue to get this growing. We'll see you next time.